Welcome to Lodestar Labs. I'm joined today by our resident education technology specialist, who's going to help us navigate a massive shift happening in classrooms right now. We put together this explainer to look strictly at the data and the real-world case studies surrounding the absolute explosion of artificial intelligence in education.
Thanks for having me. It's such a fascinating time to be looking at this space. We're literally seeing a complete transformation in how students learn and how educators teach. And, there's a lot of noise out there. Some people are totally panicked. Some are thrilled. So we're going to break down what's actually happening on the ground, away from all those sensational headlines.
Exactly. We really want to cut through the noise and get straight to the facts. So let's dive right in.
Imagine a classroom where every single student has a personal tutor available to them 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It brings up a really provocative question, right? Would schools still need teachers? It kind of sounds like an old sci-fi movie. Like, are we going to have robots rolling down the aisles handing out homework?
It really does sound like sci-fi, but the truth is we're actually already living in the early stages of that reality. Right now, millions of students are pulling out their phones and using AI tools to explain their homework, solve complex math problems, prepare for final exams, the whole shebang.
So the question isn't really whether AI is entering the classroom, it's absolutely already there. The real debate playing out is whether it can or should replace the actual humans standing at the front of the room.
Which brings us to Section 1, AI in the classroom.
An accelerating reality.
And going back to that idea of AI already being here, this is definitely no longer some distant future prediction. 86%. That is a staggering number of institutions already using generative AI.
It really is. We're seeing a massive shift away from that standard one-size-fits-all teaching and moving toward intelligent tutoring systems and real-time feedback technologies. By 2025, AI is completely reshaping the educational landscape. But what's absolutely crucial to understand is how they're actually using it. They're not using AI to replace teachers. Think of it like this. It's not about replacing the master chef in the kitchen. It's about giving them a hyper-fast food processor, It's about augmenting the educator's toolkit. So using tools like ChatGPT to brainstorm lesson plans or Grammarly to quickly refine written assignments.
That makes sense. Let's move to Section 2, AI's current teaching capabilities. Practical uses on the ground. So if it's acting as this high-speed tool, where is this technology actually succeeding on a practical day-to-day basis?
Great question.
AI really shines when we treat it as an administrative powerhouse. It's incredibly good at handling all those repetitive, time-consuming tasks that usually drag teachers away from their students. Think about the grading process. Once a student submits an assignment, the AI can just take over. It reads the student's answers, compares them with the correct solutions, and then automatically handles both the grading and the initial feedback. Honestly, this is a total game changer. Grading objective assignments takes up hours and hours of a teacher's week. By automating this specific process, educators suddenly get their nights and weekends back.
Data from a recent survey of educators reveals something really surprising on that note. AI-driven automation is actually the top priority for respondents, with a 3.70 mean score. That beats out personalized learning, which sits at 3.51. I gotta say, I would have assumed personalized learning would be number one for teachers.
You'd think so, right? Because personalized learning sounds amazing on paper. AI analyzing a student's pace and tailoring the difficulty of math problems in real time. But right now, teacher burnout is a massive systemic crisis. Teaching is emotionally and mentally exhausting. So educators are telling us loud and clear through this data, their absolute top priority is reducing that crushing administrative burden. They need efficiency first and foremost, so they actually have the baseline energy to connect with their students in the classroom.
Wow, yeah, that really puts the human toll of the job into perspective. And speaking of reducing that burden, 90% is just an incredible figure. What exactly are we looking at here?
This is one of the most powerful real-world examples from recent case studies. We're seeing AI reduce the preparation time for special education individualized education programs, or IEPs, by up to 90%. For those who might not know, an IEP is a highly customized, legally binding learning map for a student with disabilities. Drafting just one of these usually takes hours of rigorous paperwork and documentation. But by using AI to draft the initial frameworks of these documents, teachers are instantly freed up to actually spend those hours working directly with their special ed students. It's dramatically improving both teacher efficiency and student outcomes.
That's completely life-changing for both the teacher and the student. And the success stories don't just stop at administration. 98% of flabbed at-risk students at Ivy Tech boosted their grades to a C after early intervention. I mean, that is an astonishing success rate.
It's one of my favorite case studies for sure because it highlights predictive analytics perfectly. Ivy Tech Community College used an AI system to flag at-risk students within the first 2 weeks of the semester. Basically, the AI looks at the invisible trends. Maybe a student missed a small assignment, or lagged on a quick quiz, or just didn't log into the portal. The algorithm spots these tiny little patterns and raises a red flag way before the student even realizes they're falling behind. Because the AI spotted those learning gaps so early, human teachers were able to step in, sit down with the student, and intervene. They literally prevented 3,000 students from failing. The AI did the math, so the human could do the mentoring.
Section 3. Why teachers are irreplaceable. The human element. Okay, let me play devil's advocate for a quick second. If AI can grade papers perfectly, accurately predict when a student is going to fail, and write a legally binding personalized learning plan, why can't it just replace the human entirely? When we compare AI capabilities directly with human necessities, where is the line actually drawn?
It's a really fair question, and frankly, it's a fear a lot of people have. But when we look at what truly makes education work, we realize that data and automation are only half the equation. Sure, AI is unmatched at repetitive tasks, processing massive amounts of data, and providing 24/7 practice. But it is entirely devoid of emotional intelligence, moral reasoning, and sociocultural sensitivity. If a student is struggling in class because, say, their parents are going through a messy divorce, an AI just sees a drop in test scores. A human teacher sees a child in pain. A human provides empathy, a shoulder to lean on, and the exact motivation that child needs in that moment. You simply cannot code true, compassionate mentorship.
There's a quote from the research that really nails this dynamic perfectly. The human teacher is still at the heart of interpreting AI implications, contextualizing learning, and social-emotional aspects of education. Dealing with ambiguity and fostering a safe space, that's a uniquely human trait. Spot on. AI struggles immensely with open-ended learning where creativity, critical analysis, or morality are needed. Just imagine a classroom having a nuanced debate about a difficult historical event, and a student gets visibly upset or confused. A machine can't read the room. A machine can't pause, address the tension, and safely guide that debate with empathy. The teacher is the one contextualizing the information and ensuring the learning environment is emotionally safe and supportive for absolutely everyone. Let's look at Section 4. The human-AI collaboration model.
Working together.
So, if they aren't competitors, what's the ideal framework moving forward? The research clearly points to what's called the co-teacher model. AI handles the data, but the human educator retains full pedagogical control.
That phrase, pedagogical control, is absolutely vital to understand. In the simplest terms, it means the human teacher is the captain of the ship, and the AI is just the navigation engine. The teacher still sets the curriculum, guides the social interaction, and steers the overarching goals of the classroom. The AI is essentially a highly capable assistant working directly under their command. And studies actually show that when teachers are deeply involved in choosing managing these AI tools, they feel more autonomous and in control of their teaching process, not less. They feel empowered. They definitely don't feel replaced.
All right, Section 5, risks and ethical challenges. The hidden dangers. Now, this all sounds incredibly promising, but we really do need a reality check here. Because when we actually map out the key ethical risks of handing instructional power over to algorithms, they are heavy. We're talking algorithmic bias, the digital divide, privacy vulnerabilities.
They are very real, and if we just blindly deploy AI without thinking, we risk doing a lot of damage. Let's unpack a few of these. First, algorithmic bias. Computers aren't naturally objective. They learn from existing data. If that data has historical biases, the AI is essentially learning from a flawed textbook, and it might unfairly assess certain groups of students. Then there's the digital divide. We run a huge risk of wealthy school districts getting the absolute best AI tutoring tools, while underfunded schools just get left behind, severely widening the inequality gap. We also have massive data privacy concerns, as these systems rely on ingesting huge amounts of personal student data. And finally, there's the risk of over-reliance. If schools just use AI as a cheap way to cut costs, we lose that vital, empathetic human connection we were just talking about.
And that's exactly what makes this 45% statistic genuinely alarming. 45% of educators still lack formal AI training. Yes, and think about the consequences of that. It's literally like handing someone the keys to a ridiculously fast sports car without ever teaching them how to use the brakes. If nearly half of our teachers don't have the training to understand these tools, they are incredibly vulnerable to these exact pitfalls. They might implicitly trust an AI's greeting recommendation without realizing it has a bias, or they might accidentally upload sensitive student information to a public server. We just cannot safely integrate this powerful technology without thoroughly training the human beings who are actually going to use it.
Section 6. The Future of Education. Empowering Literacy.
So, how do we fix this knowledge gap? We have to pivot to solutions, and we are already seeing massive success stories on that exact front. Take the University of Louisiana system, which successfully trained 82,000 participants in a self-paced AI ethics and digital literacy micro-credential. Isn't that fantastic? Educational institutions have to actively build programs that protect their communities. Louisiana used state grant funding to build a comprehensive 16-hour course covering AI history, data privacy, and best practices. Both students and teachers take it, and they earn a digital badge upon completion. This is exactly the blueprint we need for creating a future-ready ecosystem. It demystifies the software, removes the fear, and teaches people how to use it safely and effectively as a tool for actual growth.
It's really about taking control of the technology before it takes control of the classroom. Precisely. Which brings us to the ultimate question we all have to answer as this technology continues to evolve. Will we allow technology to isolate learners, simply plugging them into cold algorithms? Or will we actively harness it to remove the endless paperwork and busy work, freeing up our teachers to make education more deeply, meaningfully human?
That is a fantastic, provocative question to leave everyone with. It really isn't about man versus machine. It's about man and machine working together to unlock student potential. Thank you so much for walking us through this incredible data today. And to our audience, thank you for learning with Lodestar Labs.